welcome to our new episode. And today I have the pleasure of introducing Chris Higgins. Chris is my Transcendental Meditation teacher. And today we're going to talk about Transcendental Meditation. How are you, Chris?
Very well, thank you. Thank you, Luca.
I have to say that learning Transcendental Meditation is one of the best things that I've done over the past couple of years. Because through this fantastic technique, I am able to, first of all, meditate regularly, as well as getting some very nice time where I connect with my deeper self, where I work on my presence, and it's a pleasurable, very pleasurable technique. And I think I would have not, achieved so much in terms of feeling present and feeling in the flow if I didn't discover this technique. First of all, I'd like to ask you, Chris, how did you get into Transcendental Meditation?
Well, it's a while. I started a while ago in I think it was 1972. The Beatles. At that time I was looking for something. In my career already I was quite successful, but I was missing something, and I didn't know quite what, but whatever on material level was not fulfilling it. And so I was looking around for something. And then I happened to read an article about the Beatles studying with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in Europe on a course there. And that excited my imagination, because one, at that time, everyone was following what the Beatles were doing. And I'm from Liverpool, the same city as the Beatles. So I felt very close to, and I could identify with what they're doing. I was in London and I was driving, and I saw a picture of Maharishi on a tree. And I stopped the car and got out, and there was a lecture that night. There was a lecture done by two TM teachers, and I learned, and then the first meditation was so beautiful, to dive deep into that inner silence that I had never experienced before. And it caught me from that moment. And so then I was meditating regularly, and after a short time I quit the job and started to travel around the world. And I ended up in Hawaii. I went to the TM Center in Hawaii, and then I met some TM teachers there, and I thought these were the coolest people on earth, Mm-hmm. So I decided to become a teacher. I went to Australia, made some money, and then returned to Europe. And Maharishi was in Switzerland at that time, and so I was doing anything to be around him and to learn as much as I can. And then teacher training course started. So I started teacher training, which was 6 months long. And then after that, I taught in many different places. The mind is normally active, right? We are thinking a lot. It's said that every day we have about 50,000 thoughts, something like that. Anyway, we know the mind is active, and we know that to control the mind is very difficult. The beauty about this technique of transcendental meditation from Maharishi is that it's totally effortless, and it's effortless because it's based on one principle, that this wandering nature of the mind has a purpose, and the purpose is fulfillment, happiness. The mind is always looking for something which will give it more happiness, more joy, more fulfillment, more power, more knowledge. So the mind will always move in that direction. It's like you can be listening to some music, and then some more pleasing music is playing in the next room, and your mind will spontaneously and effortlessly go to the more pleasing music. So And that's the principle we use in Transcendental Meditation. We use a sound, a mantra is called. The mantra has many different meanings. So just to clarify what we mean by the mantra is just a sound whose effect is known, but which has no meaning. Okay. And the mantra is used as a vehicle to take the attention from the surface level of thoughts through finer levels of thinking and to transcend or go beyond the finest level of thought and experience this state which we call pure consciousness or transcendental consciousness, where the mind is wide awake inside, it's completely unbounded, infinite level, and completely silent. Right? So the march of the mind to that, using the vehicle of the mantra, is one of increasing charm. The mind experiences the mantra and automatically looks for more finer, more delicate, more subtle states of the mantra. And then it goes beyond the sound itself and experiences that transcendental level of pure consciousness.
Sometimes you think of meditation as something that you have to put effort in, or indeed that is a chore. It's something good for you, but you should put, you should be really going for it because it's good for you rather than because you like to do it, right?
Right.
It's like eating green vegetables, so to speak. Well, what I noticed instead is that with Transcendental Meditation, there is a pleasurable aspect to it in the way that now I've been practicing maybe for about 3 or 4 months, and I do it twice a day, every day. And when I calm myself, I'm in a quiet place, after maybe just a few minutes, I really experience some joy, some very subtle but meaningful feeling of happiness coming through me, and and then I go through the 20 minutes like that very quickly, and when I come out of the state of meditation, then I feel everything is more still, calmer, more present. I feel less attached, to maybe small problems that I had to solve or situations that were bothering me earlier in the day. It's like almost, coming out and having a new day in front of you, like a reset almost. I mean, it's quite fantastic. What can you say about it?
Yeah, well, that's totally authentic, natural experience of practicing the technique correctly, in that you're experiencing more and more joy. I mean, the whole thing about it is that, this nature of the mind always looking for joy. Now, generally, before you hear anything about a technique like this, then you look for joy through the outside, through your work, through your relationships or whatever, and of course it does give you joy, but it's a temporary kind of joy, because as soon as we reach one level of happiness, we fulfill one level of desire, then the next one comes up. What more? What more can be done? So, and this is an evolutionary impulse of life, which forces us to grow, to become larger. In the technique of you turn the attention 180 degrees within, you close the eyes, right? And then the mantra is a vehicle which leads you to more subtle levels of the thinking process. And as you experience that, there is increasing joy. It's more charming because those subtle levels of thought are more charming. And then when you transcend, then it's a state which we call bliss consciousness. Inherently, its nature is fulfillment, blissful. And the mind is totally satisfied on that level. And the closer you get to it, the more joy you experience. And initially, you experience it in the meditation itself. So you have a systematic, reliable technique that is irrespective of your mood or your circumstances or your environment. It doesn't matter about those things. It's a technique, and therefore it should work in all circumstances. And that allows the mind to experience the increasing levels of joy and then to transcend and experience a state of unbounded bliss consciousness. In the beginning, it's just during your meditation. But then what happens afterwards, after even a short time of meditation, during regular meditation, morning and evening, just 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening, then what happens is that state of bliss consciousness starts to become stabilized and to persist in the three other states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and sleeping. So this state this state of consciousness we call pure consciousness is a very different state of consciousness from waking, dreaming, and sleeping. You know, even from a level of experience, it's an experience of restful alertness. The mind is restful, but completely awake and alert. Right? So it's completely silent, but you're not asleep. You're wide awake. Right? So, and if you put equipment on the body to measure what the body's doing, you'll see a very distinctive style of functioning of the nervous system in terms of the brain, the way the brain waves function, in terms of the metabolic rate. It's said that the metabolic rate falls by about 20% during the practice of TM. And there are some periods where there's complete suspension of breath. What happens is that gives the body deep rest, very deep rest, much deeper than you'll get all night. And with that deep rest, that allows the stresses which are lodged in the nervous system to be released. And when the stress is released, this allows that level of pure consciousness to maintain itself more and more, to shine through in the physiology. Afterwards, then the day is brighter. The day is brighter. Everything is the same, you know, nothing changes on the outside, but your evaluation of it is different according to your level of consciousness. You know what, you know, some days if you haven't slept so well, then that sleepy mood starts to permeate your waking state, and things, you know, you may see things in not a totally positive light, you know, when you're tired. But when you're fresh and rested, then you see the more valuable and attractive features of your daily life, and they take a more dominant role in it, like that. In terms of success in life, you know, when people think of meditation, sometimes they think, okay, if I meditate, that means I'm running away from the world, I'm ignoring, you know, my responsibilities, and maybe, you know, focusing on enlightenment to the detriment or expense of becoming successful in the outer sphere of life, you know. So Maharishi's take on it was very clear that this is a technique for people who are active in the world. This is a technique which is not for the monks or the nuns. This is a technique for people who want to achieve great things, you know, in the world. Because Maharishi emphasizes that the two things are necessary: meditation and action. We meditate to experience the self, that silent level, unbounded pure consciousness, and then we act to pull that out, to stabilize, to allow it to remain there the whole time.
Transcendental Meditation is a big organization which is present in many cities. So if you are interested in this technique, you can ask me and I can put you in touch with Chris, and or we'll find, you know, wherever you are, we'll find where is the closest teacher or the closest course. I know in London there is Transcendental Meditation, certainly in Bangkok, even like in mid-sized cities around the world, I think it's possible to find a representative. Is that right?
Yeah, there are three. Maharishi trained more than 40,000 teachers of Transcendental Meditation. And so we're present in more than 3,600 centers in almost every country in the world. And we all teach in the same identical way. You know, we have Maharishi has given us the systematic steps for teaching, and we do not deviate from that. So if you learn from a certified teacher at a TM center, you will learn in the absolutely correct way. And that ensures the success of it. And then after you've learned, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can just connect in with your local TM center for the follow-up program.
Sounds great. Well, thank you very much, Chris, for this little chat. You know, again, thank you for introducing me to TM. It's been a great thing for me, and I hope to see you soon in Kopangan or in Bangkok. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.